Hello guys, nice to see you all here again. Today we're going to be covering the second part of the E3 live letter. Now this part was done in Japanese, so the translations are up on the official forums, and yeah, so we'll go through these questions and just add some thoughts about how things are looking. So the first question was, will it be easy to participate in Frontlines even if you've never played PvP content before? I'm sure it's a question a lot of people have been asking, as PvP at the moment with the Wolves Den is not particularly popular. I've been doing a bit of it recently, and queue times of up to an hour or so is quite off-putting. So the answer was Frontlines is content that a lot of people enjoy at once, and it was made with the idea of being extremely easy to get into PvP content, and that you should be able to enjoy this easily. So that's good. Something for people to look forward to and to try out who've never been in PvP before. The second question, what's the maximum number of participants for Frontlines? And they said they're still performing final stress checks, but there's a possibility there could be some changes. But at the moment, as things stand, they are looking at 24 versus 24 versus 24. 72 players in Frontlines. It's just an incredible number, thinking that at the moment we have 4v4. Yeah, excellent. Much more than I was looking for. I thought maybe 8 or 12, but 24 is well above what I'd expected. So the follow-up to that was, how long will each battle take then? Obviously with 72 players, it could be quite long. He said the battle would be decided within about 30 minutes, so probably shorter than your average dungeon, which is pretty good as well. And are there any role restrictions for Frontline? Was question 4. And they said there are no role restrictions, but it will be possible to change your class or job at outposts. So it'll be interesting to see how this will work, because you could potentially get queued with 23 other DPS classes or 23 other healers. I know it's unlikely, but it is possible. And some people don't level up all of the classes, some people just focus on one class. But it's good that there'll be no restrictions. It should cut down on the queue times quite significantly. But yeah, at least you can change your classes on the fly as well, at these designated outposts. So that's pretty good too. No qualms so far. They seem to have handled PvP very, very well so far. They said, what kind of rewards can we obtain in Frontlines? They said essentially the rewards are the same as a Wolves Den, but you'll be able to obtain war mounts and elegant tombstones of soldier. This is great because I'm currently grinding towards trying to get the really nice eye level 100 PvP armor. And another way to earn PvP marks, great. Plus, I can work towards cap and soldiery as well. And the war mount, just something else. A big armored horse. And apparently you can use these mounts in the PvP arena as well. So something else to look forward to. They then moved on to chocobo raising and private housing. And they said, will the chocobo raising system be completely separate from companions? To which said, no, the chocobo raising system will be implementing is content related to your chocobo companion. So it will be working to improve the stats of your existing companion. Question 7, will the size of your private chamber or the number of private chambers change based on the size of your free company house? And thankfully they've said that there'll be no differences based on the size of your free company house, which is good, because it would have been a little unfair on people who were in a free company that chose to just get a small house if they had a much smaller chamber than anybody else. They said, how many items will you be able to place in your private chamber? And again, they said they're still performing final adjustments at the moment, so they can't tell you. But the number of items won't be tied or shared with free company houses, which is, again, good. It will be an entirely separate instance. So number of items in your free company house won't affect that. And question 9, will you be able to place all of the same type of furnishings of a free company house inside your private chambers? And again, the answer made perfect sense. Yes, it will be possible, however, it won't be possible to place outdoor furnishings within your chambers, which, again, makes absolutely perfect sense, because your chambers will be indoors. Right. So yeah, so far everything making perfect sense. Then the question I think we'd probably all been waiting for, which is how big are the private chambers? And the answer was they'll be slightly larger than one floor of a small-sized house, which is pretty big. Looking back at an in-room, it's maybe slightly bigger than the size of an in-room as well. But yeah, can't complain. It'll be quite big space. Yeah, pretty happy with that. And will we be able to craft inside of our private chambers? Yes, it will be possible to craft inside your private chambers. Again, makes perfect sense. I guess my only slight concern is that by being able to do most of these things inside your private chambers, will the world itself appear slightly less active as people just sit in their chambers, craft away? But we'll see. So, Crystal Tower. Will the new portion of Crystal Tower be easy to participate in and about the same level of difficulty as the Labyrinth of the Ancients? And they said, yes, just like the Labyrinth of the Ancients, we've made it so you can enjoy all of this content. Which is good, because trying to organise a 24-man alliance to do something taxing would not be fun at all. It's difficult enough to arrange a 24-man alliance to do the basic things in the Labyrinth of the Ancients correctly. Question 13. Will there be once a week loot restriction for the new Crystal Tower? And yes, just like the Labyrinth of the Ancients, there will be a loot restriction, which is fine. But at least you can do it multiple times and you'll be able to get the loot, so that's not a problem for me. What will the item level requirement be for the new Crystal Tower? And they're still adjusting that at the moment, so please look forward to it, I guess. And will we be able to obtain accessories or weapons from the new Crystal Tower? And the answer is no, it's armor. Just like the Labyrinth of the Ancients, it's armor only. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing what armor is going to drop from there, because the Labyrinth of the Ancients had some lovely armor designs. And do you have plans for the future to make Crystal Tower a regular open world area instead of an instanced dungeon, sorry. And no, there are no plans for this at the moment. Not really sure how that would work as an open world dungeon. I mean, some of these, like, boss fates tend to be abandoned because they're too much hassle for people to do. So it would just be kind of like a giant fate. No, I'm glad they're not doing that. Question 17, will Gilgamesh make another appearance in the next Hildebrand quest? And the answer is no. No, he will not. I'm guessing that means that the Gilgamesh Hildebrand story is over, and hopefully they'll go on to 2 separate side stories. One for Gilgamesh, one for Hildebrand, which would be awesome, because there's some excellent stories. You mentioned previously it would be difficult to add voiceovers for the Hildebrand cutscenes, as you're prioritising over-the-top humour and such. But would it be possible to add voiceovers after they've been released? We said naturally it'd be nice to have voiceovers, so we may look into this, but I guess I won't be holding my breath for that. And I don't think it makes any difference either, to be honest. Question 19, will Yuri's face be revealed in patch 2.3? And they say it's still a bit too early for that. I think they'll be working towards patch 2.4 for that particular release. And they said in patch 2.2 main scenario, Yugiri and Thancred showed off a new fighting style. Is this the new job? Which say yes, that is the rogue and ninja jobs. Which again will be patch 2.4. Certainly something to look forward to because they both look really interesting. Will other famous Final Fantasy series characters such as Gilgamesh make an appearance in the future? And they said we plan on making some guest appearances that are related to the lore of Final Fantasy XIV. Once they're ready, we'll be sure to talk about it. But to be honest, they've got so many references in there already that, I'm sure they're not going to struggle to craft some lore to fit others in. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. I know, my opinion, seeing references to past Final Fantasy games always always makes me smile. Always makes me remember the previous games in the series. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to that. And do you have any plans to make an art book with all the art you've shown during the letter from the producer live? So this would be all the sort of concept art and all the sort of drawings of the armor and the enemies, things like that. And they said we're moving forward with plans for this. We plan on making an art book lore collection, but we'll announce further details later. I guess the only disappointment for this is that it's probably going to be Japan only again, so you'll have to import it if you in Japan. But apart from that, it'll be nice to have it. Are there any plans to ease up on or give us more freedom when it comes to allocating our attribute points? And they said we've been discussing it. It'd be nice to make this a bit easier to do. I don't really know. You know, the new relic quest weapons, you can adjust the attributes on them. And you could add anything you want on them, to be honest. So I think that's kind of the road they're going down, but I don't think on just basic weapons. That'll be something that they're doing. So question 24, will you be adding new Grand Company ranks and Free Company ranks? And they said we are planning this for the future, but we'd like to release this alongside content that Free Company members can head towards as a goal. So nothing at the moment, which again is fine. I mean, Grand Company ranks are frankly almost irrelevant at the moment. So it'd be nice to have something for them to do, but it's not something I'm in a rush for. They said, where and how can we raise our chocobos? So as part of the chocobo raising, they've jumped back to this one. And they said by setting up a stable in your Free Company garden, you'll be able to take care of and train your chocobos. Now, presumably, it won't just be limited to one chocobo at a time. Presumably, everyone will be able to store their chocobo. So, hopefully, it won't be restricted. But they didn't mention anything about that. They said, will anything change when we raise our companions that have already reached rank 10? It's a long way off for me, but I know some people have their companions at rank 10. And they said there will be a way to break the rank cap in the chocobo raising system, and by doing this you'll be able to surpass rank 10. By increasing your companion's rank, you'll be able to increase the number of points for acquiring skills, and so with this you will be able to acquire all of the skills. So great for people who have maybe thrown a point or two into healer for choco regen, and then can't get the barding, or having all of their skills in one class. So it will be good for them. As I say, I am a long way off. I think a lot of people I know are a long way off of rank 10 on their chocobo, so it's not really going to affect me too much in the short term. They said, will new Beast Tribe quests be added in patch 2.3? And the only Beast Tribe remaining is the XIV. This will be added in patch 2.35. They said the XIV Beast Tribe quest will be a bit different from what you've seen up to this point and will have a focus on crafting, which is interesting. I know a lot of people don't level up crafting jobs, so it'll be interesting to see how they work that for people that don't have a craft, or will it just encourage people to level their craft? Very tough. You need to level it. They also said that completing all Beast Tribe quests will unlock a new quest, which is good and bad. It's good in that it gives you something to work towards, apart from just getting the mount and the minion. The bad news is it means I need to go back to I need to go back and do the Sylphlands quest, because I'm not done it. And I was hoping to stay away from them because I don't really want the mount, but I guess I'll have to do it. Never mind. Will NPCs or monsters participate in Frontlines? So they are jumping a little bit all over the place with their questions here. But they did say in addition to players, monsters will also be present in Frontlines, but they will affect the battle only slightly. Which is, it's good. You wouldn't want to just get killed in PvP, you wouldn't want to just get annihilated by a giant monster, so that's pretty good. Excuse me. So Fan Festival was brought up, and I know this is something a lot of people have been excited about. I know I have been. So the Fan Festival dates and locations. The first one will be in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the United States. October the 18th and 19th at the Rio Hotel and Casino. Then they'll be coming to the UK. October 25th will be in London at the Tobacco Dock. And then finally, the last one will be in Tokyo, Japan. And that'll be December 20th and 21st. And that's at Tokyo Big Sight. So yeah, excellent. Look forward to it. Can't wait to get down to FanFest and see what they've got planned there. Should be awesome. Question 29, you mentioned that chocobo raising will be done by setting up a stable at your house. But will it not be possible to raise chocobos if you do not have a house? A lot of people are still part of free companies that don't have a house. Whether that's through choice, necessity, free company rank, lack of gil. And they said that this is an expansion to the housing content at the moment. However, it is something that they are going to look at being able to participate in from the Chocobo Porter as well. So, even if you don't have a free company house at some point, the Chocobo Porters will be able to help in chocobo raising. Which is good, because I don't think you should exclude people, certainly exclude individuals from taking part in content just because their free company is small or, they're not able to purchase a house. How many chocobos can you raise at the same time? It said, since this is for companions, it's just one just now. We plan to expand content in phases, and in the future, when the gold and choco are implemented, you'll be able to raise more. So, it doesn't take a genius to work out that's the gold saucer and chocobo racing. So yeah, you'll be able to, by the looks of things, when gold saucer is released, you'll be able to raise chocobos and breed them for racing. But at the moment, it's just one chocobo at a time, your companion, with no breeding at the moment. Question 31, will it be possible to change your chocobo's feather colour to any of the dyes with chocobo raising? And they said we'll be implementing a feature in patch 2.35 where your chocobo will be able to regrow their feathers, and that's where they'll be able to change their feathers. It should be possible to change to all the different colours of dyes that are available. So this will mean that you'll be able to dye your chocobo, but at the same time it means no special plumage chocobos like there were in previous games, like black, gold, etc. But that's fine, it'll be nice to have a colour-coordinated chocobo. Probably not something that I'll do, but you never know. So what is the cost and requirement for unlocking personal chambers? So you must belong to a free company that has a house, obviously. And you must be at least a certain rank in your grand company. I'm going to assume at the moment that will be the current maximum rank. Wouldn't make any sense to be anything lower than that. I said the cost is still being finalised, but the current plan is for it to be around 300,000 gil. Very reasonable, in my opinion, 300k. And we've obviously got, about 3 or 4 weeks to get saving for that. 300k in 3 or 4 weeks, it should be fairly easy to come by. After this, in this patch, they really have been throwing gil at you hand over fist. So, yeah, excellent. And where will you enter your private chambers? And they said that for this one, in patch 2.3, there'll be a door added to the first floor of your house that will lead to the private chambers. Again, makes perfect sense, but hopefully it will fit in with the aesthetics in the house nicely. I've seen a lot of beautiful housing interiors, and hopefully it won't just be spoiled by this ugly wooden door sat in the middle. So it's just one of these filler questions. Is there a window in your private chambers? Yes, there is a window. Who cares? Question 35. If you leave your free company, what happens to your private chamber? Again, this made perfect sense to me when I read the question. In patch 2.3, if you don't remove your private chamber, you won't be able to leave your free company. In the future, we're making a system where if you leave your free company, your private chamber will be removed. So quite simply, if you leave your free company, you lose your private chamber. Makes perfect sense because it's in their house. And then we've gone back to the Crystal Tower here. For the new Crystal Tower, we'll be able to form pre-made alliances. And they said, sorry, but due to frontline adjustments, we're making large-scale changes to the Duty Finder. We're doing our best to implement this in patch 2.35. But to be honest, they've pretty much been saying this since the first Crystal Tower came out. And it's probably not such an issue anymore to most people. And what is the item level of the rewards for Crystal Tower? And they said we're currently planning on making it item level 100, the gear that will drop from Crystal Tower, which is great. That'll make it around about the weathered gear. That'll be fine. I guess anyone that's beyond that would just be using it for glamour anyway. And what is the drop rate for the unidentified Allegan Tombstone and the Sands of Time and Oil of Time? They had mentioned in the past that these drops that were previously from Coil will be dropping in the new Crystal Tower. And they said we're planning to make the drop rate approximately 30%. So just slightly less than 1 in 3. But I would imagine it will be rolled on by the full alliance. Or maybe much like the shard, the housing shard, where it's rolled on amongst the full amount of people that are there, the full 24. So they said, as mentioned previously, we won't be introducing all 3 at the start, but as we progress through the patches, we will be adding more. So I'd imagine the unidentified Allegan Tombstone will be first up, followed in the future by the Sands of Time and the Oil of Time for upgrading the weapons and the weathered armour. Which again makes perfect sense. It makes Coil still the place to go if you want to get these immediately. Question 39, will there be any elements of the new Crystal Tower where the party is going to split up and accomplish their own goals? And as before, no, there will not. The concept is you're all climbing the tower together in an alliance. So that makes perfect sense to me again. Yeah, basically all working together. I would imagine it's very much like the existing Crystal Tower, which is fine. And they said, will famous Crystal Tower characters be making an appearance? They said, we can't say for sure, but stay tuned. I think it's fairly safe to assume that there will be some famous characters making their return. Will there be any special battles like the Gilgamesh battle in the upcoming Hildebrand story? And the answer is yes. We plan to have a fun and exciting battle, which is kind of what I would hope they would do with all of their battles. So it hasn't really told us very much. Will there be any new side story quests beside the Hildebrand story? And they said yes, we're planning on implementing a side story that revolves around the delivery Moogles. So this would be awesome. I really love the Moogles, and yeah, it would be great to learn a little bit more about them, about their background, because we don't know that much about them. Why are they delivering mail? We only know they're trying to help out. So yeah, it will be great. Look forward to that. Are you planning to add any stories related to Hildebrand's childhood, or quests where his mother will make an appearance? And they did say they originally had a quest that involved his mother, but they were just... it made it too many new characters for people to try and take in at once, which is fine. But they said if there's enough demand for it, they will perhaps bring that back. And they said, will Hildebrand's father return? And they said he just might. So... yeah, he was quite a popular character, and I would imagine he will be back in one of the future patches. Can you make it so ability cooldowns are reset when you retry a dungeon after wiping? I'm guessing this is for... I know from my point of view, Hallowed Ground, you know, if you wipe and then you go back to the dungeon, you've got the full 5 minutes for Hallowed Ground to be usable again. It's not really something I've noticed. By the time I get to the point of using Hallowed Ground, 5 minutes have pretty much elapsed. So they said it's not something we can decide on the spot, but we will discuss it, which is fine. I'm not holding my breath for that one. Question 46. If you use a file of Fantasia after you join in an an eternal bond with another player and change your gender, will anything happen? And as we discussed the last time, no, it will not, because the eternal bond is between players, regardless of gender, so the bond would remain in place. 47. Right now, all endgame content is for full parties of 8 players. Will there be any light party focused endgame content in the future? And instead, as we currently work on other tasks and as we work on the 2.x series of updates, it's a bit difficult to shift our focus to light party content. However, once things begin to settle down, we'll look into introducing various new content. And as they discussed in the English E3 Q&A, they did say that they would be focusing on 8-man, and then on solo instances, and then finally on 4-person light content. So they'll get there, but it's probably at the bottom of their priority list. Will you be adding any high-level accessory recipes that are higher than the current eye level 70? And they said yes. Look forward to this release of patch 2.3. It always kind of struck me as odd that you could craft eye level 90 armor, but not eye level 90 accessories to go with it. So I'm glad they're sorting that. Because it was just, I guess, a little bit odd to be having. If you wanted a full crafted set or you wanted to craft your own set, you're kind of restricted. And the final question, and the most important one: when is patch 2.3 going to be released? And the current plan is Tuesday, July the 8th. So, not long to wait. Just a few weeks. Which is awesome, a Tuesday. Absolutely fine with that. And I would imagine it will involve the usual 24 hours of downtime. But they will release more details of that as they get there. So yeah, that about wraps it up for the Q&A session. Thank you all for listening in. Remember, you can subscribe and be updated with all of my videos when they go up. You can also follow me on Twitter. The link is in the description below. And you can follow me on Twitch as well, where I'll be streaming both Final Fantasy XIV and also Wildstar from time to time as well. So thank you again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you all in the future.